Am I back? Is it back? Huh. The internet went down for like a minute. Less than a minute. But it went completely down. The fuck? That's annoying. In the middle of my cool song.
Have you ever had a dream?
Today, Junior?
Ran out of internet gas, apparently.
You want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Stupid internet. That sucked. The middle of the song, too. That's why it's still experimental internet gas. Got it. Got it. All right. Stupid internet. Yeah, I guess it went down for a second, but I guess it's back. It looks like it's back. Have you ever had a dream? So when you think of luxury, a luxury automobile, a high-end luxury automobile, there's one thing that I think of. I think of quality, foreign engineering. I think of German engineering. I think of the best vehicle anybody, any cool cat would buy. And that's a BM. I'm kidding, it's a Mercedes. This is a 1986 training video on how to sell a Mercedes-Benz. Look at that. That's quality. That's quality. All right, this is how you make money.
In this segment, we're going to talk about sales techniques.
Don't sell to blacks. End of tape.
Right from the start, let me say that we're not going to suggest that there is only one way to sell. There is no such thing as a fixed presentation. Out there on the selling floor, you become a lot like the improvisational actor. By definition, improvisational actors are people who are given a subject or suggestion by the audience and then proceed to create a sketch or scene without any prepared script or plot. They simply wing it, as they say.
Oh, okay. So they want to, this isn't just in the corporate, but in a lot of sales industries, right? There's a lot of these. Oh, you got to follow the script. You got to follow. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you're a good salesperson, you don't have to follow the script. You don't. You sell the car any way that you can. You don't need to follow the script. It's so stupid.
Obviously, because they've been doing improvisational theater for some time, they've developed routines and methods of handling some of the oddball suggestions that come from the audiences. Well, you've got a lot in common with those actors.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you implying that being a salesperson is like being an improv comic? Oh, boy.
Even though you know the product, there's no set script.
Which is funny because most improv comics eventually have to go sell cars.
The customer is going to throw some oddball suggestions at you, and you have to be ready to deal with whatever they come up with. However, at the same time, you have the opportunity to exert a great deal of control over the selling situation. And
I need my tools.
The objectives of this program is to show you how to do exactly that. And the first step in showing you how to control the selling situation
Specials of needs. If a rapper comes into your dealership, confirm they have a platinum album. Otherwise, show them the door.
is to give you a different perspective on selling.
It's a great haircut,
A perspective that will show you how to identify a prospect's true buying motives and then to structure a sales presentation to take full advantage of this vital information. As you'll see, once you know the customer's buying motives, you'll have little trouble controlling the direction and flow of the sale. Enough introduction. Let's begin.
Okay.
The first thing you must understand is that almost every automobile sale eventually becomes a classic negotiation. By definition, a negotiation is an activity in which parties are trying to satisfy their individual needs.
This guy's coming across very aggressive, but I guess he's a car salesman, which makes sense.
As a salesperson, your main objective is to persuade the customer that your product, in this case a Mercedes-Benz, satisfies their automotive needs better than any other automobile. At the same time, you're trying to satisfy your need to earn a commission and turn a prospect into a source of repeat business and referrals. The best and most positive type of negotiation is what we call the win-win. In this type of negotiation, everyone leaves feeling that he or she has won. The customer has the automobile he or she wants, and you have the sale. You've both won because you both have the sense of having satisfied personal needs. Keep this definition in mind because it's fundamental to everything that follows. Now, let's see how this effort to satisfy needs fits into the structure of the classic automobile negotiation.
He did go from follow the script to throughout the script. He went, because this guy's all over the place. He's improvising.
Traditionally, when we talk about an automobile sale, we're talking about a set of well-defined steps. Meet and greet, probing and qualifying, selling benefits, demonstrating, handling objections, closing, delivery, and follow-up. Let's look at each of these steps in more detail. With each prospect that walks into the showroom, you have but one chance to make a good first impression. And a lot of that first impression will be determined by your attitude, the expression on your face, and by the way you're dressed. Needless to say, a pleasant expression and a professional appearance will go a long way toward creating a positive impression. The objective of the meet-greet step is to begin the process of establishing trust. As you well know, this is an absolute must in our business. And with some customers, this may be one of the most difficult things to do. The reason is this.
Car salesmen are very shady people. Many of them are hucksters, and they lie to you.
People who have been buying automobiles in the domestic market have been conditioned over the years to expect the worst from salespeople. Their experiences might range from salesmen who
He's being honest.
treated them with out-and-out hostility to someone who was ready to promise anything to get the sale. Because of the quality of our automobiles, the tone of our advertising, and our overall image, most people expect to be treated differently in a Mercedes-Benz dealership. They assume that the quality of the automobile is also reflected in the people. So, in general, the prospects who walk through the front door expect better treatment, and it's up to you.
A female salesperson? Man, this is a very progressive 1986 Mercedes-Benz training tape.
To confirm their expectations. Now, let's assume that you've got a smile on your face and you're dressed correctly. Obviously, the ideal situation would find you walking up to the customer, introducing yourself, and immediately have the customer tell you that he's looking to replace his 3-year-old Mercedes. Occasionally, that's exactly what happens.
And you should change your Mercedes before 5 years. Again, look, let me tell you, German cars are great for 5 years. You lease them. Lease those German cars. I'm telling you, folks, I owned one. So this isn't me just shitting on. I owned one. Everything breaks.
Unfortunately, because many people
And they're very expensive to fix.
approach buying an automobile as a potentially unpleasant experience, many salespeople find themselves in a dialogue that goes like this.
Here we go.
Good
Finally.
morning.
Good morning.
My name's Donegan Smith, and welcome to Precision
Donegan Smith?
Motors. May I help you?
No, thanks. I'm just looking.
Or the conversation might go like this.
Good morning. Thanks for coming in. My name is Donegan Smith. May I show you one of our automobiles?
No, that's not necessary. I know what I'm looking for. I just want your best price.
We offer these illustrations to underscore the importance of a greeting which causes the customer to naturally flow into a spontaneous conversation. Obviously, you want to avoid the kind of response he just heard. So, what might you say? We put that question to several Mercedes-Benz salespeople, and here's what they said.
You really have a just looking response
In CT software?
all the time. And you just keep on pursuing it. Say, well, what were you looking at? What are you thinking about? Just making the customer feel at ease. And a lot of times exchanging names does not make a customer feel at ease. Some customers will come in and they'll
So hound them?
give you their name first. They'll walk up to you and say, hi, I'm John Jones. Sometimes I'll walk up to customers and do that. Sometimes I won't find out the customer's name for a half hour. It's whatever you feel that's going to make the customer at ease, and never have a canned opening greeting for a customer.
What was he looking at? Did you see that? What was he looking at?
And never have a canned opening greeting for a customer. I think that's the most important thing. Don't get in the rut. Hi, may I help you? It could be, hi, may I help you? Hi, good morning, how are you? Take a look at what he's driving outside. That's a pretty white Datsun 280Z that you're driving. How long have you had it? Anything, just to catch the customer a little bit off guard. They're always expecting, can I help you? My name
like a
is
fucking
John
serial
Jones, what's
killer.
your name? And I try to really pull a little bit of the reverse, get them to tell me their name.
Throws a reverse card out like Uno.
At that point, I think you're starting to control the situation a little bit better with some customers. Other customers, you can't do that with.
Well, first of all, I welcome them to Herb Gordon. I extend my hand, tell the people
And then they tell me, is there a man I could speak to? Or is your father home?
who I am. And then I ask them, what may I show you? And most of the time, rather than a customer say, well, I'm just looking, they'll tell me a particular model. Sometimes they'll be specific about if it's a 190 or a 300, or they'll tell me I'm looking for a four-door car or whatever.
CJ Thorough confuse a customer with awkward eye contact. Rub his shoulders. Walk up behind him and rub his shoulders.
Once you've got the customer talking, you're ready to move on to the second step. Traditionally, when automobile people talk about probing and qualifying, they're talking about trying to determine things like which automobile the person is interested in, what kind of trade-in they have, does the spouse have to approve the purchase,
The wife. Does the wife have to approve it?
is this to be a lease or purchase, and so forth.
Lease. It's a Mercedes.
While this remains
Lease
important
it.
information to uncover, none of these items represents the reason why a customer will buy your automobile over someone else's. For that reason, one of the primary objectives when you probe and qualify is to gather information concerning what the customer perceives as his needs. Obviously, if you agree that the purpose of a negotiation is to satisfy needs, then you're going to be a lot more successful if you have some idea what those needs are. Like building trust, the process of obtaining information about needs continues throughout the sale.
The dentist system.
Let me show you something.
This is the seat, if you can kind of picture this as the seat that you are in, to go forward.
Oh, isn't that
forward.
interesting?
Yeah, it's,
Even
here,
I could
here.
drive this one.
or at least get comfortable
At
in it,
least
right?
get comfortable, right.
This is the first year also that the wheel is telescopic.
What you're seeing and
What? Because it goes back again. What you're seeing is a salesperson taking advantage of an old man.
Hearing is a very traditional walk around the car, in which the sales consultant points out all those things that make this automobile the finest production automobile in the world. Unfortunately, the chances are in a traditional walk-around presentation, much of what the sales consultant tells the customer are things that the particular customer doesn't want to hear. And chances are even greater that if the prospect is hearing a lot of things to which he doesn't want to listen, he's tuned out the sales consultant and is busy thinking about something else. What we'd like to do now is take a closer look at the anatomy of a sales situation.
Here's his penis.
Let's start by examining the customer side of the selling equation. Why do people buy? Because of the price? Well, if you've ever sold cars, you know that price usually appears to be the main issue. However, let me suggest that while price is important, it's not the only issue that must be addressed in a sale. In fact, in many cases, it only becomes an issue after the person has determined that a particular car satisfies his needs. Unfortunately, too many salespeople believe that the price is the only thing that matters to a customer. Of course, it's a major factor, but it's not what motivates a purchase decision. As any good psychologist will tell you, people make purchase decisions based on how well that decision will satisfy a conscious or even subconscious need. The fundamental job of the salesperson in this or in any business is to make sure that the buyer understands how the product or service they offer can satisfy their needs. It follows then that
sexually,
the key to successful automobile selling is to develop the ability to identify a customer's needs, and then using a combination of product knowledge and selling skills to persuade the prospect that your automobile and your dealership satisfies his needs better than anyone else. Now, if you agree that the promised satisfaction of needs is what motivates someone to buy, then it stands to reason that the automobile presentation and demo drive should be focused on proving that the automobile does in fact satisfy the customer's needs.
Okay, we're skipping ahead a bit here. I want to get more to the demo drive. Handling objections. Here we go. Handling objections.
In theory, once you've uncovered the prospect's hot button, his buying motivation, and focused your sales presentation on proving that your automobile satisfies his needs, you should be able to move directly to the close. Notice I said in theory. Sometimes it works that way. However, chances are that at some point during the sale, the buyer will begin to raise objections. Usually these objections occur when you're about to get into the subject of price.
Okay.
You should understand that there are really two different categories of objections in our business. The first we call stated objections.
I appreciate the small discount that you threw at me. It's still really just a little more than I wanted to spend.
I am not using this as a threat or anything, but I would like you to be aware that whatever we negotiate here, I will certainly I will be shopping around at other Mercedes dealerships with, I know you don't have time, but I will be doing it on my own just to see what.
Jeez, fucking relax, lady.
Is there any value?
I will shop around.
I mean, is there honestly any value of doing that? Or are we going to save, if we're talking, we're a couple $1,000s away from what the best is that you folks can offer, can we actually, is there any value in doing it?
Probably not.
I just assume that they're going to be priced about the same.
It's my legwork, and I am born to shop.
In these
fucking woman, it's my legwork, and I'm born to shop, baby.
Cases, there's no question what the objection is. The second category is called implied objections. These are usually disguised in the form of excuses, such as,
no, I like it so far. I do want to, take the brochures home and think about it. And
off the top of my head, my wife has to approve, of course.
I'm still going to have
By the way, the wife having approved thing is usually a lie. 99% of the time, it's a fucking lie.
to go to my accountant. Check this.
I understand that.
one thing we know for sure about the implied objection is that underneath the excuse is an unstated objection. More often than not, at the root of this implied objection is the price of the car. Having said that, we should caution you that sometimes what appears to be an implied objection is actually a legitimate request. For example, if someone were to say,
I want to shop around and see where I can get the best rate on an auto loan.
That could be a legitimate statement, or it could be the customer's way of telling you that he'd like to shop some other dealership and see if he can get a better price or more for his trade-in. One way to test for a hidden price objection is to suggest that the customer might want to consider a lower-priced model. If you step them...
You cheap bastard. Take that shit over to the Toyota dealership, is what you tell them.
...down a notch, and they seem more comfortable with the price, then you know the source of the objection. Keep in mind, however, that you also want to ensure that the customer saves face. For that reason, you mask the step down with a benefit statement.
Translation, you lie to them. You lie and you conceal.
If they're, say, for instance, looking at a 420 and I feel them just backing away, knowing that the price is a little bit too much for them, I'll tell them, say, you know, if you're really not comfortable with that size car, maybe I should suggest to you, you know, even considering a 300 series and go into, it costs you X number of dollars to get into that series.
How about Mercedes dealer tell me, if you're not ready to buy today, then I don't want to talk to you anymore, and left? Really?
Rather than ever embarrassing them by...
My friend's dad got called out by a salesman for saying he had to ask his wife, and the owner fired the salesman on the spot.
Saying, you know, let me suggest a lesser price car to you.
In this example, the step down sounds more like a concern on the part of the sales consultant that he hadn't fully exposed the customer to all the options. Possibly the best advice we can give you in dealing with customer objections is to take the statement at face value and assume that what the customer is telling you is true. At the same time, you should be listening for signals that would indicate a hidden objection. In either case, be it a stated or implied objection, your task is to answer objections and remove them as obstacles to the sale, and continue the process of proving that the price is equal to the car's ability to satisfy the buyer's needs. Now, we recognize that even the best sales consultant is not going to be able to overcome every objection. Some people are going to object to the price because it's simply more than they can afford, or because they haven't as yet been convinced that the value of the car and its capacity to satisfy their needs is equal to the price. To give you some more insight into this critical aspect of selling, we've asked several Mercedes-Benz sales consultants to tell us how they deal with these two types of objections.
Let's hear them. These are the people that sell.
Off the top of my head, my wife has to approve, of course.
If we've narrowed down to a model or anything.
Oh, here we go.
And many times you actually narrow down to a particular car. I'll say, take it to your wife and show it to her. And again, you turn right around, you say, I'm going to go get a tag for you. You turn right around, you do it. And in that case, a lot of times they do stop you dead in your tracks.
Take it to your wife and show it to her. So what you were going to get, so you just let him take the car home? I'm just trying to understand, like, so what happens? Because then if I say yes and then I crash the car, then what?
Say, oh, my wife isn't home, or I can't get to her, or something like that. At that point, there's really not a whole lot you can do. At that point, you just say, bring your wife back, or if you want, call me up, I'll go show the car to your wife for you. And a lot of times...
Jesus Christ, this guy's way too aggressive. I would already not be dealing with this guy if he was like this.
Sometimes husbands like that. Husbands like the salesman to take the car and sell the idea to his wife.
I offer to suggest that they could bring their wife in, or if they want to, we can take the car to their wife and pick up the wife. We have an extended program so that we can send the car out for a couple of hours.
Well, back up on that one.
Oh, look at this guy.
Or any objection, really, as you are with the customer during the presentation, during the demo drive, by asking questions for the common stall techniques that the customers use.
Stall techniques. You mean thinking about it, sir? You mean wanting to think about it a little bit?
Early on in the presentation, these objections usually will not come up. So you handle them before they become objections. For example, on that one, you can ask them early on while you're taking the demo drive, for example, is there anyone else that's going to be helping you make this decision? Now, if they say,
hey, shut up, nerd.
Yes, my wife, well, at that point you can say, great, where is she now? If she's...
It's a horrible George W. Bush impression, yeah. Where is she now? Can we go find her?
Home or at the office and it's local. Why don't we take the test drive and drive over there and let her see the car?
I'm still going to have to go to my accountant.
check this.
Oh, I understand that.
Okay, same with the accountant. You can ask, when you asked the question earlier, is there anyone else who's going to help you make this decision? He would have said that. Now, if they don't answer you with that, chances are they won't use that as an objection later on.
We always encourage them to do that rather than saying, well, no, let me act as your accountant. You don't
I think this lady would be, out of all of them, the one that I'd be more comfortable buying a car with.
want to ever give anybody the impression that you know more than their paid professional.
No, I like it so far. I do want to, take the brochures home and think about it.
Okay. First, I try to clarify what they're going to think about, and I start over and selling again. Was there something in particular that I missed?
It's such and they still do this, but it's so aggressive.
Was there a question that you had that maybe we could work out? And then I just start reselling until I really find out what the real hesitation is.
Either I go back to step one and really ask them to take another drive in the car. Or at that point, I will volunteer. I'll sit there and say, do you have to consult your wife before you make a decision? I'll try to find out what's holding him up from making a decision. And sometimes I'll just...
to emasculate him. Oh, you got to talk to the little lady? You going to emasculate him? You going to talk to your wifey, Poos? Are you going to talk to your wife? Jesus.
Come dead out and say, what do you have to make a decision about? Is it about this, another model, another make car, whatever?
And my answer would be because I fucking feel like it. And I would leave. Like, I don't know, man. People are different, I guess. I don't like that type of sales. I'd be like, because I don't feel like it right now. How's that for an answer?
And again, you draw from that, and a lot of times I go back and start the whole presentation all over again.
I will say that when we get down to this point, let us not let price be the most important thing. Let's remember that you are buying the most prestigious automobile in the world. You're also having a very large dealer backup at this dealership. Yes,
I will, I am not using this as a threat or anything, but I would like you to be aware that whatever we negotiate here, I will certainly I will be shopping around at other
lady.
Mercedes dealerships with, I know you don't have time, but I will be doing it on my own just to see what.
Is there any value?
I will shop around.
I mean, is there honestly any value of doing that? Are we going to save, if we're talking, we're a couple $1,000s away from what the best is that you folks can offer, can we actually, is there any value in doing it?
Probably not.
I just assume that they're going to be priced about the same.
That you
It's
will
my
find.
legwork, and I am born to shop.
Sure. Well, what we always recommend is I'll encourage you to make some phone calls. If you find for any reason that we're out of line at all, just call us.
I will come back. I certainly
Sure.
will.
Because, sometimes the market will shift. We normally find that we're very competitive because we do a large volume of business here. And we also have to consider, since you do live in the district and you are coming out to our dealership, we do find that we're probably the most convenient.
So the funniest part is with this too, is it's a Mercedes training video to teach you how to sell a Mercedes, telling you how to stop them from going to another Mercedes dealer. Because that's what they're doing. They're going to go to another Mercedes. Mercedes gets the money anyway.
We have the award-winning shop in the area, and we're the only one that can boast of the award-winning shop. It means nothing to you now because what you're thinking of is your money. But when you really start thinking of service, you're going to maybe feel that even if you paid a few $100s more to do business here, it was money well spent.
I would like to get something, as I say, I only live about half a mile from here, so we'd obviously like something that's easy to service, easy to deal with, but I would like to talk to, some of the other Mercedes dealers and just see.
I understand completely.
I mean, I don't know if each dealership, you may have they're trying to push certain cars.
We're all very, very close. What it really comes down to is you live a half mile away. I've been here for 10 years. I have 3 loaner cars on the road all the time for servicing, which is free.
You mean if I have to bring this car in for service, you give me another car?
Yeah. As long as you give me a call 4 or 5 days ahead of time, you get another car. We meet you here at 8:30 in the morning, and then you bring it back at between 5 and 6 in the evening or even a little bit later.
The last question you ask, is it the price? Yes. Is it me? Is it the dealership? Is it the product? Is it the location? Is it the price? Generally, they're going to answer no to everything except the price. And then you start all over again.
Let me add some thoughts on how you can...
It's aggressive. It's so aggressive. Oh. Now that's a German driving machine. Now that is an automobile. All right, guys. Is it the price? No, you know what? It's the fact that you're fucking yelling at me. How about that? It's the fact that you're screaming at me and you're telling me that I have to, you call your wife? You to call your wife? I hate buying cars. It is really the worst. Always be willing to walk away. Exactly. Just always be willing to, if you're willing to walk away, then you're fine. That's the key. Just be willing to just go. Guys, thank you for listening. RLTC coming up today in 4 hours. I hope you're there. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today, as always. I appreciate the donations. And let me open up the chest here for the D-Live Back of the Bus people. Ba-bam.
You like the
There you go, guys. All right. I hope all of you have a fantastic, wonderful, and amazing day. Bye.
My pocket needs some
Bye.
money so I can go into town. My brother isn't working and my sister doesn't care. The car, she needs a motor so I can go anywhere. Mañana, mañana, mañana is good enough for me. My mother's always working, she's working very hard. But every time she looks for me, I'm sleeping in the yard. My mother thinks I'm lazy and maybe she's right. I've gotta work mañana, but I gotta sleep tonight. Mañana, mañana, mañana is good enough for me. Oh, once I had some money, but I gave it to my friend. He said he'd pay me double, it was only for a lane. But he said a little later that the horse, she was so slow. Why he gave the horse my money is something I don't know. Mañana, mañana, mañana is good enough for me.